Hello and welcome to Annihilation of the Tombs. I can now actually successfully say that I have completely finished a run of Tomb of Annihilation. If you want to see a whole video talking about how the conclusion went, then let me know in the comments or by joining the Discord and telling me there or whatever, which you can find in the description because it was like awesome, frankly. I've been planning for it for quite a while, and they had the final boss fight against the man himself, you know, and it was quite cool to experience, I think. But I guess I can say now I'm a bit more qualified to talk about this than I was before, since I was currently going through it, but now you can trust my word just a tiny bit more. I do have some pretty awesome ththings to say sometimes. Apologies for background audio in this video. We have to keep our door open a bit more because it is absolutely sweltering outside and within, and us British people aren't used to the heat and stuff, so apologies for that. But today I did want to talk to you guys about doing some alternate adventure hooks, because the original hook that the adventure provides I think is decent. It gets the job done, it gets the players to Chult and gives them their main objective, which will carry them over throughout the entire adventure. But some people might want a little more than that, and something to get them out properly into the world and more invested in the entirety of Chult rather than just the Death Curse and the Soulmonger and stuff like that. And I think one of the best ways to do that is have someone know about a key location that you want explored. There's several good ways to do that. Perhaps the party are already in Chult, and the only available guide is Azaka, which Azaka is one of the very few people who you can actually get as a guide for free, which is why people often go for her. But it's in exchange for a small quest. That is a perfect way to start off. Bang the table. That's a perfect way to start off. And I actually did this myself. Not only did I do the Syndral Sylvain start quest, but I had made Azaka a very obvious and likely the best choice to get them through elements of Chult, since she was kind of free, but she had a quest attached to her that got them to Firefinger and then gave them some other places to go to. The party liked the sound of Mesro, so they went there, and then in Mesro I gave them information on various other places that they could perhaps head to, and the adventure spanned on from there, simply just from a fetch quest to a whole exploratory campaign. And I think that was very fun, in my opinion. So that's one of the ways you can do it. It's sort of a subtle side quest that's implemented. There are also plenty of other side quests that the game offers that you can pick up in Chult. There are a few different ways that you could do this outside of Port Nyanzaru giving you the objectives, though. If you wanted to perhaps go a little more unorthodox and make it more of a matter of urgency, then you could perhaps start the game even further into the Death Curse, and perhaps there are already 2 or 3 parties that have gone in, and the party are various trusted government officials, and you could start at a higher level, or people that are well known for their escapades. This is a good way to start off an adventure with a higher level party that either has been through several adventures before going to this one, or that you simply want to start at a higher level for this quite difficult adventure. They could be all sorts of interesting titles. Some could be high-ranking members of factions within the Forgotten Realms. Some people could be notorious adventurers that are kind of on their way to do their next thing and just so happen to find out about this. And a good way to do that for a higher level game is to remove some level of the ambiguity, perhaps have more important figures know some elements about what they're going after to give them more of an incentive to try and piece things together. At the start of the game, you don't really know what's causing this thing. You can learn through a bit of research and looking into some places and stuff like that, but it's quite ambiguous. Perhaps this level 9 or 10 party, which is perfectly fine to start at for Tomb of Annihilation, perhaps they have a base understanding through understanding of background lore. Perhaps the wizard knows this per se, that they know that this thing is likely being caused either by a very destructive creature or a like machine that seems to suck everything up, and it gives them something a bit more to do. In Port Nyanzaru they could conduct a lot more research, which gets them going a bit more, and they could even learn some elements about parts of Chult that will guide them towards Omu eventually, which is where all of the adventurers are trying to get to. If you want to start at levels 9 to 10, it's also an option, instead of just bumping up the encounter difficulties, to just slap them straight on Omu, if you really want to do that high level start, where it's just a city heist, basically. You go into Omu and you explore, you do the Fate of the Night Serpent, and then you do the Tomb of the Nine Gods or something. If you wanted to perhaps cut out the middleman in terms of getting to the nitty-gritty of the story, because a lot of the outer areas of Tomb of Annihilation don't 100% pertain to the current events and the main objective that the party are going on. There are some other ways to do this as well. Tomb of Annihilation can be a good adventure to choose if your party are in some sort of situation where perhaps they are part of some level of a suicide squad, which is kind of a route that I think I'm going to be taking with one of my parties, but not to Tomb of Annihilation, just to some level of a similar thing if they don't manage to, you know, escape or something. But it's a pretty risky venture, and it's likely that some characters who may not want to do it would only really go there if they were pretty much told to by the people who are in essence holding them hostage. This does create some level of a dilemma with a party member in terms of, if they're part of this group and they don't want to go, then a player is likely to have less enjoyment with a character that doesn't want to be there. So perhaps talk to your players if you want to do this sort of a start, and suggest, hey, so it's likely that your characters aren't going to want to do this, but I'd like you to consider some reasons why they would want to. Perhaps they have some level of a self-serving area in Chult that they'd want to explore that you could reveal some levels of. Or they simply have a personal stake in this in terms of one of their friends have died and they want to solve this so that they can figure out from then how to revive them and something like that. That increases the stakes slightly into less of a literal suicide mission where the party isn't going to care as much if they die, into more of a personal escapade, where that's just another way that they were sent off to Chult. For the stream game that kind of fell in a little bit due to tech being extremely hard to handle, we kind of started with mixed hooks. So the party all united in Port Nyanzaru. Our warlock's patron had said to go to a temple and prank a big snake lady. That was pretty much it. Which kind of was their incentive. They were asking around a bit for that, and basically that was their main incentive, and if they found them and they did that, they might get a reward or something similar. So it can be as simple as that. In comparison, another one of my players had lost a magic item to a bunch of grung that had invaded them and yanked it when they ran away, and he was off to their harem, Dung Rung Lung, to try and like get it back, basically. It was a bag of tricks that he'd got in the previous adventure that he was in, just for the fun of it, because bags of tricks are awesome. And then the dwarf forge cleric that had came in was interested in finding some kind of legendary forge, which there actually is, I believe. I never properly looked into it, but I think there's a place called Rakamar, which is a forge. So I was going to alter that a little bit to suit his backstory a little more and his objectives, but I was going to do something like that and slowly steer him in that direction. But yeah, there are a few alternate adventure starts that don't just involve, go do this for me, I have no obvious reward, but you're going to do it anyway because we're here to play D&D. You could have, you know, all sorts of ways to do it, and I imagine there's plenty of other resources out there that could give much more in-depth starting adventure hooks beyond my 1-minute ideas. If you want to go look at that, I imagine the Tomb of Annihilation subreddit has quite a lot for you. But I'm just here to kind of bounce off a couple ideas and maybe get you interested in the idea of going beyond the original Syndra Sylvain hook that is given. If you found this helpful at all, then please do the like thing and the subscribe thing so that you can see this ongoing series continue. And get a dialogue going in the comments or in our Discord, which you can also join in the description, so that, you know, we can talk about some additional alternate adventure hooks that you put in the comments. Whenever someone puts like their own idea on something that I was talking about in there, I'm like, why didn't I think of that? So I really like seeing those, and I'll probably pin the best ones. In any case, thank you for watching. See ya.